Hi guys, you're watching part 2 of the video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to start the body of the bag. And I actually did not count the number of stitches in every round. Just make sure that you started out with chain 50 for the foundation chain, and then you work 2 double crochets on the 4th chain from hook. And then each corner of the first round must have 5 double crochets in the corner, and then you followed in the previous video, the part 1 video, where to add the increase on each round. And then after that, we're going to start in the middle of one of the corners of this bottom piece. So this is the middle part, and this is where we're going to start. So this is the middle increase. This is the first and the last one, and the other corner also have the same spot where you can see the middle and the other two. So you're going to get the yarn, work a slip knot. So we're going to make a slip knot. It's up to you if you want to make a slip knot here or not. So this is how I'm gonna start joining, and then find the center. This is the center increase of the previous round, which is round 6, and we're gonna start by chaining 3. Some people, they just insert the yarn and do chain 3, so you can do whatever you prefer that would make it secure. 1, 2, 3, and then after this we need chain 1 for the chain space. And when you do fillet crochet, you're always going to skip the next stitch, which is parallel to the chain 1 space. So we're gonna do the next double crochet skipping 1 stitch, and there you go. And now we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 double crochets. Once you have 6 double crochets, now we're going to chain 1, and then we skip a stitch and then work 1 double crochet into the next, and then we're going to continue working 6 double crochets. So we have 2 already, so we're going to work 4 more double crochets. So now you have 6 double crochets. As you can see, in between those chain spaces and skipping a stitch, we always have 6 double crochets in between. So that's the pattern that we're following, and we have chain 1 space and skipping 1 stitch in here. So the next would be slightly different. After 6 double crochets, we're gonna chain 1, skip a stitch, work 1 double crochet in the next, and then you're gonna chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, and then work 6 double crochets in each of the next 6 double crochets. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this will be the repeat pattern. So when you get to the last 4, 5, and 6. Do not forget to work your last chain space, chain 1, and then 1, 2, 3 on the third chain. From on chain 3 you're gonna work a slip stitch, and that's the end of round 7. For round 8, chain 3, and then work a double crochet in the next, chain 1, and then skip 1 double crochet, and then work 11 double crochets. 2, 2, 3. So now we have 4, 5. Don't forget this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then once you have 11 double crochets, the next is we're going to chain 1 and skip the next stitch and work 3 double crochets in the next. So 1, 2 on top of the 1 double crochet in there, and then into the chain 1 space. Now we have created a 3. Chain 1 for the chain space, and then skip this stitch here. And next thing is we're gonna make 11 double crochets again. So the number you have to remember here is 11 double crochets in between chain spaces, skipping 1 stitch, and then the next is 3 double crochets, and then chain space, and then 11 chain space and 3 double crochets. So you'll know when you made a mistake in the previous round, because the pattern will always be the same on every groups of 3 double crochets. So if there are 4 blacks around this part, in every round, in every part, there should always be this form. So this is just a repetition, and as you can see, we started half of the 3 double crochets, and we're going to complete that once we get back. Round 9 is you're gonna start by chaining 3, which always counts as 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet into the next, 1 double crochet into the chain 1 space. So now we have 3, and then we're gonna chain 1 and then skip 1 double crochet, and then work 1 double crochet in each of the next 9 double crochets. So we now have 3, 9. Once you have 9, we're now going to chain 1, skip skip 1 double crochet, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches for a total of 5. So the numbers that we should have in mind right now is 9 double crochets and chain 1 spaces in between. So we now have 4 and 5, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and then 9 double crochets. We're gonna work 1 in each. Okay, so that's gonna be the repeat pattern. As you can see, the blocks, the empty spaces there are the one forming, and it will form later on as half diamonds. Okay, and once you continue, we're going to complete the 5 clusters or 5 groups of double crochets in there, and after that you will see how this empty blocks are forming. So I have completed my 9 double crochets in there, so I'm gonna chain 1, and then I'm going to complete my 5 groups of double crochets. So make sure you skip 1 stitch, and then in the chain space work your 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch, which is the double crochet, you're gonna work your last double crochet and slip stitch on top of the beginning 3rd chain, which will make this 5 double crochets. So round 10 is the easiest. We'll start with chain 3, which counts as 1 double crochet, and then in the next 3 stitches we're gonna work our 1 double crochet in each and the chain 1 space. So we're forming half of the 7 group of double crochets. Now we chain 1, and then we skip the next stitch as always when we do chain 1 space, and then work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 double crochets. So for round 10, keep in mind you are working individual double crochets into 7 groups, and then in between chain spaces or chain 1 spaces in between 7 double crochets. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then chain 1, skip a stitch into the chain 1 space. We're going to start our group of 7 double crochet. So we already have 1, we do 6 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then we will do 7 again. As you can see, it is starting to form a diamond, and that's what you're going to repeat on this round. 7 double crochets, chain 1, and then 7 double crochets into the next. So repeat that around, and then when you get back, I'll show you how to end round 10. I got back around and I'm gonna finish with, I'm gonna chain one first and then skip a stitch and then complete the 7 double crochets. So I already have 4 here. I'm gonna work 2 more, 1 in each, 1 and then 2, and then as usual I'm gonna slip stitch on top of the beginning 3rd chain, and round 10 is done. So as you can see, it's already forming a diamond in there, and this one half. So we're now ready for round 11. Round 11, we're going to start by chaining 3, which counts as 1 double crochet, and then in the next 4 we're gonna work 1 double crochet in each, 2, 3, and 4. This is going to be half of the 9 groups of double crochets in there. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and in the next we're gonna work 5, 1 on each. We now have 3, 4, and 5. Once you have 5 in there, chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the chain space we're gonna work 9 double crochets. So we already have 1, so we count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Chain 1 and then skip a double crochet, and in the next we're going to work 5. So we have 1 already, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next chain space we're going to start working. Since we have 1 there, we just have to work 8 more. Okay, so we have 9, 5, and in between those chain spaces, as you can see, it's forming half of the diamond, and that's a repeat for this round 11. Alright, so now I'm gonna work my last 3 double crochets of round 11. 1, 2, and 3. And then we will always work a slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. So there you go, you now have 9 double crochets in there. So we're ready for round 12. Round 12 is a repeat of round 8. We're in this pattern we're gonna work 11 double crochets, group of 11 double crochets, chain space, and then 3 double crochets. So 11 and 3, that's the numbers that we need in order to make this one. So as you can see, if you check round 8, you will see there's a chain 3, three double crochets, chain space, and then 11 double crochets in here. So that's what we're gonna do. But of course you need to take note of the forming of the design that we're making. So in here we're going to chain 3 first. Okay, and then in the next 5 stitches we're gonna work 1 in each, 1 double crochet in each of those stitches. So we're doing half of the 11 groups of double crochets, and then we're going to complete it once we get back around. So we're chaining 1 as our chain space, and then we're gonna work 3 double crochets in the next 3, so 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 double crochets, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, and then work a double crochet. So in here we're going to work 10 more double crochets to complete the 11 groups of double crochets. So as you can see, I am now working my last few stitches of this round. So I am now completing the 11 groups of double crochets. And then slip stitch on top of the beginning 3rd chain, and there you go. And this is what it's looking like. This is forming as half of the diamond, and when you focus on this side, you are actually forming a diamond, and these blank spaces will go right this way and this way. So this will form like a full diamonds, while these are half of diamonds that are forming. Round 13, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to chain 3, and then work 1 single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. So we now have 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have 6 double crochets in total, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip a stitch, work 1 double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip a stitch, and 1 double crochet in the next. So we have created 2 blocks, and after this we're going to work 6 double crochet groups. So we now have 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have 6 double crochets, we're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and then we're going to have 1 empty block, and we should have a group of 6 double crochets in here. 3, 4, 5, 6. So the pattern is we're gonna create 2 blocks in between 6 double crochets, and then we will alternate that with just 1 block. So can you guess what the next one is? So the next one is we're going to create 2 blocks in which, after working 6 double crochets, chain 1, skip a stitch, chain 1 again, skip a stitch, and then into the chain 1 space we have 2 empty blocks. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to alternate 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so it's up to you how you remember the pattern, for as long as you have 6 double crochets, in between them you have chain 1 space, and make sure that you alternate working 1 double crochets in between chain spaces of groups of 6 double crochets. So the next one, after I work my 5 more double crochets to complete the 6 double crochets as one group, we are going to work just 1 block. So make sure you always have 6, chain 1, and then skip a stitch, and then in the next 1 double crochet, and then 5 more double crochets, and then in the next we're going to do this. So that's the reason why we slip stitch to the next stitch in order to make this the block. So chain 1 space, and then it's in the middle. So if you check the pattern that is forming right here, as you can see there's a block in the middle. Round 14, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and then we're gonna chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 5 double crochets in each of the next stitches. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to work 1 block. So chain 1 and skip a stitch, and into the chain 1 space work a double crochet. So we're going to work 5 more double crochets in each of the next 5 stitches to form 6 double crochets. 5, 6. So the next one, we're going to form 2 blocks. So chain 1, skip a stitch, into the chain 1 space 1 double crochet. That's 1 block. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and 1 double crochet in there. So now we have 2 blocks. So this is going to be the repeat pattern. 1 blocks, 6 double crochet, 2 blocks, 6 double crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 2 blocks here. So the next is just 1. We alternate 1 and 2 blocks, and in between there are 6 double crochets. So that's going to be the repeat pattern for round 14. So to end round 14, you're gonna chain 1. So after working 6 double crochets in there, after chaining 1, skip 1 double crochet and then 1 double crochet into chain 1 space, chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3. So that's the end of round 14.